Cole's busy taking up all the prime logging space, so we're just going to go set up the bench. And taking this guy out of the rack makes me a little bit sad. But we're going with the even shittier cambered bar once again. I think I'm going to have to lower the safety pins, but I will confirm before I commit to that. Yeah, we'll need to. Okay. Anyways, it is what should be scheduled as my dynamic effort bench day, but because we're trying to grow a titty back, we are taking it with a more hypertrophy orientated intent. And if you're wondering what the easiest way to do that is, just take what you normally do for speed work, and instead of doing speed work with it, crank a couple of AMRAPs. Going first work set at 225. If it goes well, we'll go 245 on number 2. And that felt heavier than I would have liked it to. And I could make an argument that I might be underslept, underrecovered from coaching and travel all weekend, but 20 pounds ain't that big of a jump. So we'll try to wake up a little bit.
I was up there but Adam was supposed to come up Saturday, and his girlfriend had like plans up there. And then he was like, "What time are you coming up?" "Oh, I'm not coming up anymore. The girlfriend finished up the day with fucking plans." So after
Felt better than I was expecting after the first set. And we better find a little wake up here, because if 315 feels heavy off a 5 board, that's going to be pretty embarrassing. Third week of the wave, so might as well find out by going straight to 4. Gotta drop the hooks down 1, but that felt pretty okay, so we'll go like 435 next. And felt a little bit flatter there than I would have loved, but fuck it. Recent PR, and the shoulder only felt like it was going to explode just a little bit. And I'm thinking with that, plus every rack that I normally do my overhead press in being taken, we're just going to dig into some machine presses. And primary goal here, not be an asshole and actually contract my delts. And 3 might be a work set, might not be a work set. We'll see. I don't know. I think we'll count that as a work set. And at this point, kind of glad that the racks are taken for overhead press, because the sleep deprivation is definitely kicking. Whatever. Still gotta dig in. And that last rep is why machines are sick, because there's no way I could have greased that out had it been a barbell. And what I'm telling myself is me being forced to tone the stay down a little bit with the fatigue ain't a bad thing, because I'll probably be fresher than I was last week on my main bench day. And I'm thinking it's a happy accident that the decline is set hella steep, because it should let me get away with using less weight on these. Doing more of like a legit Skullcrusher here, just so that the 40s get hard. We'll probably still have to go up. And deciding to not be lame and go 70s. Yeah, glad we went for that. Still hate this machine, but we're learning to love it. Strength curve is so freaking gross where the pec is weak, which kinda freaking sucks, but also feels really good in the worst way possible. And this felt really effective last week, so we'll run them again, but with the grenade handle for a little friendlier ergonomics. And I've been touching some of these between sets, because a couple weeks ago we ran the Nearly Good Mornings with the Nordic bench all the way down. I kind of tweaked my hamstring a little bit and didn't really want to say anything, and it hasn't quite gotten better yet, so I figure that scaling these down, making them easier, just barely touching where the tweak was, is going to be the way that we get it to work better again. And with how it feels so far, I think we're on the right track. Anyways, we're back over here touching some side, rear, kind of hybrid dealios. And we'll go in on some rear delt-ish emphasis pulling. And I figure if we're here, might as well run some cable curls. Prime handle feels freaking ridiculous for this. and cranking 50s today because if we want to catch up to Darrell, it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. And stretchy hammer curls for the sake of the stretch and nothing else. And I think I've come to the conclusion that additional stability here is probably better. So we got the bench out. And we haven't run a straight up GHR setup in a while, so we're going to run a straight up GHR setup. Slid the foot plate further that way, so we'll see if it lets me do a better job. Definitely felt a little more terrible on the hip flexors, which is kind of what I was going for. Well, it wasn't great, but it was still pretty good. And I think one of the more important reasons why you need to be able to make the days where you don't feel so good still be good is that you won't always be in control of how you feel on meet day. And like Miana with her meet that she did this weekend, like it wasn't a great meet, but it was still a very good meet considering circumstances because even though she nailed her peak, even though she did well through the end of her training cycle, she did well managing loading at the very end of the taper, she ended up catching the flu meet week and ended up being sick as fuck meet day, and there wasn't a whole lot we could do on the platform other than try to do the best that we could with the situation. I think like the most impressive part of her meet day, for me at least, is that even though she ended up feeling super flat, even though we ended up over anticipating what she would be capable of because we thought we were being conservative on her squat opener, we thought we were being conservative on her squat second, and then her squat second ended up crushing her. She didn't let that ruin the day. She didn't let that get in her head, and she still ended up getting 3 benches in, and she still felt good enough to at least send it on the third pull. And even if it wasn't anywhere near her best showing, it still ended up being a showing that she could be proud of because of how she handled the day with what her body was giving her. And like, if you end up at a meet where you, whatever reason, you sleep like shit the night before, you wake up sick, you wake up with something that's super painful that you just can't figure out and can't get rid of, it's like, what choice do you have other than to do your best? And if you have practice on days in the gym where things aren't perfect, things don't feel great, but you're still able to do something and pull something out of your ass, those meet days where it does look like it's going to be really hard and really shitty, you can make them still a good time. I think that if you can have that attitude on the bad meet day where you're like, I'm going to have a good day regardless, I'm going to do the best I can, you're still going to have a fun time at the meet, and it's not going to be a total downer and you won't hate your life. And like, on the days where your performance is limited by how you feel, it's easy to rag on yourself. It's easy to be all depresso. It's hard to put a positive spin on it. It's hard to dig in regardless and be productive. But if you can figure out how to make that hard happen, you are going to be so much better off down the road, both as a lifter and in life. So guys, that is what I've got for today. And if you need help getting a handle on your training, if you need help with handling the mindset around training and making your training more productive, hit the link below, sign up for Team Activated, because my goal is to make you a better lifter.